Hey everybody, this is John again with Proficient Mower. We're going to go ahead now and start working on the rebuild for this Ryobi carburetor. So I got it boiling, had it boiling. This is probably the second session of boiling it. Water's steaming a little bit, so it's pretty hot. I don't know if the steam will actually show up in the video too well, but ultrasonic cleaner pretty much cleans everything up on it. So you can see here, it's still got a little bit of crud, but it's nowhere near what it was. Trying to see here if we're dealing with a Walbro carburetor, which it looks like we could be, because I'm seeing WYC, it looks like right about there on this tab. It's looking to me like that could be WYC. Not sure. So you want to make sure your throttle's open, all that's good and clear. You can also spray it out with some carb cleaner, which we'll probably do again just as a safe measure. I'm going to show you how to replace the fuel screen in a minute, and from there we'll go ahead and we'll start putting it back together and see what we got. Hopefully, what the hope is that this thing will fire up and run, but just have to see how that goes. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. Alright. So there you go, right there. Oh, looks like my brother-in-law just pulled up. Cool. Alright, so. Alright, this is all pretty clear now. Just take a rag, wipe off all the excess junk. The ultrasonic cleaner is really good for clearing out the ports and stuff of these things. Just want to make sure it's all pretty clean. Take this, go ahead and spray it. I don't know if you can see here, but just go ahead and spray it. And
ran out of room back there to work, so now you're doing it all up here?
now I'm shooting a video right now, cleaning a carb for YouTube. So now I'm just Mom needs a leaf blower.
Who does?
My mother. So spray all this out. Should be good. Had a bad fuel screen. Yeah. Been shooting some repair videos and stuff for Just Answer. You having trouble with that belt?
I didn't even know fool with it yet. It doesn't take a wrench to get it off. It just takes a ratchet.
Alright.
You square the ratchet.
Probably need to let it cool down for a few there, right?
Alright. It don't matter to me none.
Alright. So we're going to probably go ahead and pop this fuel screen in. And this is a brand new screen. You can see through it. It's perfect. So you got to put it in here, and you can use the back end of a drill bit. I have some little special tools here for Walbro and Zama carburetors, a little set. They're great for this because they have like this cool little thing here that you can use to push. You know, the fuel screen back in. So. We're going to go ahead and you set it there, and you just kind of gently push it down, make sure all the areas are in there. Just don't want it to come back out. Which they have done before. So if it does come back out, sometimes you got to flatten it out and redo it. But the idea is so you can see through it, and the fuel can get through it without any problems. So now, looking through this, I'm going to turn my monitor back on. Looking through that thing, I don't know if we can get it to... Alright, there you go. Hold on, right there. So you can see through that screen right there? That's what you want. That's so you get good, clean fuel delivery, which we didn't have before, and I think that's going to end up being the problem. So once that's done, clean that up, clean this up. They're both good. Now, on to the fun stuff. Let's go ahead and spray down this little gasket a little bit, just get any grime or gunk off of it. And I'm just doing this today to see if we can get this thing to fire up. Long as it'll still pressurize and stuff and deliver fuel, it should be okay. So that's good. Put that there. This gasket will go back on here, just like that. Then your metal piece should go right here, and that kind of holds that on. So all those holes line up perfectly and nice. So that's that. Then you would get this here. So that. And if you put those three back on, your pumper diaphragm and your screws here. And it doesn't matter which way that little hole goes, it's just so it can breathe to make it pump. And then your 4 long screws go in there. And that's the one side. It's already pretty much done. We'll go and put the other side in. And we'll go ahead after that and see if we can get it to fire up and run. There you go. I'm hoping this camera's angled where you can kind of see what I'm doing. I haven't shot a lot of YouTube videos, so I'm not as good as some people, but hopefully somebody will find it helpful. Okay, so that's all back together. Go ahead and put our Phillips bit back in. So just want to tighten each one down a little bit at first, make sure they're all lined up, everything's good. Just like that. Bit each one. Okay, tighten that one up pretty good, and this one. There we go. So then after that, you can put your throttle back in. And make sure that you put your throttle the right way. I'm looking at the fuel line to see how it goes. So I know it goes this way because the front line goes right up here. So I know that the throttle should go this way because of the choke, which means it should pull back, and that's what it's doing, which is great. So you want to put your screws back in for that. And after that, we're going to go and bolt this thing back up and give it a go. Hey Jason, you good? Are you good? Huh? You're doing what? Do you need me down there? Alright. I'm going to help my brother-in-law change his serpentine belt in a few minutes on it's got a Ford van E150, and I got the F-150. They both had the 4.2 motor, so shouldn't be too hard to change. Okay, so I'm putting the throttle back in. There we go. Make sure your throttle and everything works good. Everything's coming back. See, that's returning back okay. So that's all good. Guess what? We can almost now get ready to finish, which is great. Luckily, I don't think this one's going to need a ton of work. I do have to put one more gasket back, though. That was my fault. So I'll put this gasket back real quick, and then we will be done. And bolt her back up and see if it'll go. Not a bad little blower either. Hopefully it'll work, at least just to clean these up at my mom's. Since my brother and I take care of her yard work for it and stuff. If this doesn't work, I'll price a carburetor. If it's under 30 bucks, I'll buy it. And if there's not under 30, if it's more than 30, I'll probably just shelve this thing for parts. I mean, I might try a rebuild kit with gaskets, but a lot of times, unfortunately, with the Ryobis and the MTD blowers, is they just don't hold a lot of money value to them because they're big box store blowers, and when they break, you know, a lot of times you can find the carbs and stuff cheap, but if you can't, it's really not worth putting $70 into a leaf blower that you can replace for 80, you know. Although I can't really say that they're making them better. So if you have something like an old Echo or a Still, it's definitely worth it. But for something like this, it's kind of hard to justify. That's why I'm hoping that they just, you know, putting these little gaskets and stuff, cleaning them up and everything. I'm thinking it'll be okay. We'll see. Probably in about 5 minutes, we're going to find out real quick what the deal is. And hopefully, you know, I think we're going to be all right. I've done this with a lot of them. And if you catch them, if they haven't sat too long, like this one sat maybe a year or so, you might be okay. But the problem really it boils down to is there's ethanol in the gas. And the ethanol is just eating these things up and gumming them up. And like you saw that junk in with the fuel line on the first videos I shot. The problem is it's just they're not, you know, it deteriorates the stuff and it just gums it up. That gas doesn't, I think they're saying ethanol gas doesn't really stay good for more than 3 months without a stabilizer. So I always tell my customers to use something like Stable, STABIL, fuel stabilizer. Mix it in your big red gas can. I use it in everything from our lawnmowers to my snowblower to even my little 3-horse outboard on my boat. Just because some of these things you don't use them except every now and then. Even our generator has Stable in it. Because most people only use a generator when they, you know, have run the risk of a hurricane. So I always tell people to do that. In fact, I got 2 chainsaws I got to work on next for my brother-in-law because his carburetors are gummed up. So I don't know if he's listening to me and not and using Stable or not, but you know, that's what you should do. Alright, so I think everything now should be okay. So we're going to pull this back. And we'll put this on. Alright, so the back hose is a little bit the hardest one. I know it's hard to get a camera angle in here. I'm going to try to squeeze it on here and put it on, and then, you know, but it goes right from the back and it attaches to the wall of the thing. Also, you want to hook up your throttle cable too, just to make sure it's going to do what you need it to. Hook up your front fuel line and gasket. You about ready?
Take your time. I was just getting stuff out of the wet. I think I'm gonna have to remove the damn upper radiator hose.
For what, the truck?
Yep.
What, to get the...
There's a shroud that surrounds the fan. You gotta get that shroud out of the way.
Alright.
Slide the belt over top the hose, or over top the fan. It's cold out here.
I had to fire the stove up after you left last night.
Right.
I was up late.
What time did you go? What time did you go?
Shoot, like 3.
For what?
Well, I had to fire the stove up, and it takes a while for it to catch up with the house. Alright, put my gaskets on. Hoping this will fire up. We'll see.